Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video. So, it's almost winter, huh? Matter of fact, it's already December. That means cold temperatures, salt, snow, ice, and did I mention salt? Lots of salt. Is your car ready for this? Today I will give you a few tips that will make winter a little bit more survivable for your car. And therefore you. Sorry for the weather, it's a little bit windy today, but I think my microphone will be able to deal with that. So, number one, winter tires. If you live in a part of the globe where there is some or a lot of snow, then I consider winter tires an absolute must. The difference they make when driving and braking on snowy and icy conditions is just crazy. They will not only make driving safer for you, but for those around you as well, because obviously you don't want to slide into the opposite lane while cornering. Here where I live, winter tires are mandatory from December 1st all the way through March 1st. You can of course put them on earlier and take them off later. Matter of fact, you can actually drive them all year long, unless they have studs. Studs are forbidden in the summer. The minimum tread depth for a winter tire, here where I live, is 4 millimeters. But before you go ahead and reuse your old winter tires, you should also keep in mind that you will lose tread as you use them. On average, I have noticed that I will lose 0.5 millimeters a season on my Ford. So taking all that into consideration, I would only use winter tires that have at least 4.5 millimeters of tread left. If it's less than that, I would probably look for new tires. Now on my Ford here, I am using Hankook winter tires. Now this will probably be the last season I'm using them, because this will be, I think, the 4th season. So they are getting pretty old and the tread is getting smaller each year, obviously. Now the tread on these tires is still somewhere around 6, I think. Yeah, on this one it's 6.8. But next year they will have to go because, as I said, they are getting pretty old. You should also know that winter tires on snow or ice won't grant you the same traction as summer tires on tarmac. It's obvious, but some people still think they do. Now keep in mind that these are the regulations for my country. For your country it might be a little bit different. In Norway I think you can use summer tires all year long. It's just that in the winter season you must have snow chains ready in your car. Now let's get to number 2. Battery. As temperatures drop below freezing, you might have noticed that your car's engine during a cold start cranks a bit slower than it would in warm temperatures. And that is because all the chemical processes in your battery have slowed down and it's not providing the same power as it would in warm temperatures. On top of that, a battery also discharges faster when it's cold. And don't forget that when it's cold, the engine might also need a few extra cranks to fire. Now, taking all this into consideration, it's no surprise that batteries usually fail in winter. Depending on the battery, they will usually last you for about, 5 to 7 years. And if you use the car on a daily basis, they can last even longer. I replaced the battery in my Ford 2 years ago, I think, and it still had the original battery. And the car is from 2008, so the battery was, 10 years old? That was pretty good, but the battery was in a pretty bad shape. So I would say if your car's battery is around, 7 years old, you might start looking for a new one. Or at least put it on a charger every now and then. So we get to number 3. Engine oil. It is well known that you have to change the oil every now and then in your car, but it's even more important to do so before the winter. Why? Well, I will tell you an experience my colleague had when he purchased his little Opel a couple of years ago. After the purchase, he wanted to make an oil change, but as he opened the drain plug, nothing came out. Why? Well, because all the oil in the engine had gelled up, and he had to use a heat gun to turn the oil in a more liquid-like state to get it out. Now imagine what kind of damage could be done when running an engine on an oil like that. Well, probably that oil has been sitting in that little Opel for quite some time, but the point I'm trying to make is that as temperatures go down, engine oils become thicker, in particularly older oils, and that makes it difficult to get that oil flowing to critical components that need to be oiled. So if your car is due for an oil change, don't wait for the winter to pass. Okay, number 4. Premium fuels. Now this mostly goes to diesel cars, but gasoline cars can also benefit from premium fuels. So why premium fuel? Well, one of many diesel's ingredients is paraffin, and paraffin begins to crystallize as temperatures drop below freezing. And these tiny little crystals have the potential to clog up your fuel filter. Now, as temperatures continue to drop to, let's say, -10 or -15 degrees Celsius, so many of these crystals form that it turns the diesel from a free-flowing state to a gel-like state, and that will definitely clog up your fuel filter. Now, premium fuel, on the other hand, has so many additives that not only protect your engine from wear and tear, but also significantly reduces the temperatures at which paraffin begins to crystallize. Now, truth to be said, modern regular diesel already has some additives and is usually good to use even at -15 degrees. Premium fuel, the lowest I've seen, is good at, I think, -35 degrees Celsius. That's pretty low. But if you live in the countryside where gas stations usually don't have premium fuel, you can use fuel additives. You just add them to your tank before you fill up your regular fuel, and that'll have the same effect as premium fuel. And so, we have reached number 5, and it is glow plugs. And yes, this of course goes only to cars with diesel engines. Its job is to heat up the air-fuel mixture to help it ignite. If you're having trouble starting your diesel engine in cold temperatures, or it might idle roughly, then these are the first thing to check, because they are relatively cheap and easy to replace. When I bought my little Ford here, it was already spring and temperatures were warm, let's say. But later that same year, when temperatures first dropped below freezing to around -5 degrees Celsius, I had trouble starting it. It took me a good 5 seconds of cranking before it actually fired, and that's unusual. Then temperatures dropped even more to around -15 degrees Celsius, and no matter how long I cranked it, it didn't start. So a couple of days later, when it was a little bit warmer, I drove to my mechanic and plugged a OBD scanning tool, and it turned out that out of 4 glow plugs, only 1 was working. So I had him quickly replace all 4 glow plugs, and the car started even at -20 degrees, easily. So if your diesel has trouble starting in cold temperatures, then usually a set of new glow plugs and good fuel should do the trick. With my little rabbit here, I will try to show you what difference do glow plugs make. It's a bit dark. Now the thing with this rabbit is that it has a separate button for its glow plugs. I haven't touched that, and the car hasn't been started in days, and I'll try to start it without the glow plugs first. Let's see how it goes. Nothing. Let's give it one more shot. Nothing. Now let's use the glow plugs for a couple of seconds. Okay, now let's see if that makes any difference. There we go! Oh, it smoked a lot. So these are 5 tips that can help your car get through the winter. If you think this video was in any way useful for you, you can go ahead and click that like button. And who knows, even maybe subscribe. That's it for today. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in my next video. Bye bye.